What's going on, Blink fam? Jimmy Gaines coming to you live from Blink Fitness Onondaga. Today I'm going to be going over the bench press, proper form, and the different grips / utilizations that we can use. Before I get into that, I just want to wish everyone out there a happy holiday. If you haven't made it on down to the gym yet, make sure you get there and put in that work. So, first off, we get to the bench press. I'd recommend before we hop on that we do some sort of warm-up. Warm-up is good to get that blood circulating, increase that blood flow to the muscles, and just loosen you up, break that sweat, and get you headed into the right direction. Some good movement prep for the movement you're about to do. So if we're doing bench press, a good suggestion for a warm-up might be to loosen the shoulders, maybe do a couple push-ups, maybe just hop on with the bar and get a couple reps in just to loosen up those muscles, especially the ones that we're going to be using in the bench press. So first, let's get an adequate warm-up. All right, I'm gonna hop on, stretching out my chest, my shoulders a little bit. I'm gonna grab the bar. I'm just gonna squeeze out a couple reps. Perfect. So I'm feeling a little bit looser, I'm feeling warm, I'm definitely ready to start the movement, which is gonna be the bench press. And there's so many different types of bench presses and things that we can get into, and we're gonna. But first, I wanna talk to you about the setup. For whichever variation of bench that we're trying to do, the setup's gonna be more or less the same. So, first thing we need to do is hop on the bench. All right? Next thing we need to do is lay down, get comfortable, get situated. All right. Now from here, if I'm looking up on the bar, I realize that we have different grooves, different little smooth areas on the bar. Those are reference points. Those are there so you know that when you grab the bar, your hands are even on both sides. So if one hand's on the groove and the other one's way out, we know something's not right. We're gonna want that hand placement to be even, so when we do lower this weight down, it's all proportionate and one side isn't cockeyed compared to the other. So I'm gonna use those reference points. All right, I'm gonna go with my pointer finger on them. Good, got it. From here, now what I'm going to want to do is I am going to want to make sure my wrists are straight. A lot of times when we're doing the bench press, we have wrists like this or this. We don't want our wrists to be flexed or extended. We want them to be completely neutral, so fist to the ceiling. Got my reference points, check. My fist or to the ceiling, check. Hand and wrist, good. Next, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to drive my shoulders down and back to get them nice and comfortable on the bench. I feel secure. Right after my shoulders are secure, I'm going to want to bring my feet alongside the bench, have them firmly planted into the floor. So when I do this press, I can drive through my feet to help me do it as well. So our first grip here, we have our traditional bench press. This one is a little bit wider. Typically the standard bench press that most people tend to do in the gym. Shoulders good, wrist straight, lower back contact with the bench. All right, from here, come up, good, control, right back. Awesome, so that was our traditional bench press. As we know, there's a bunch of different variations, and we're gonna go through them a little bit. So the traditional one is the one you're gonna see most people in the gym using. It gets pretty deep into that muscle. It has a good bar path, so the bar can move up pretty easily. But there's different variations for different things that we're trying to accomplish. So the next one I'm gonna go over is that really wide grip. You might be someone who utilizes the wide grip. You're trying to get a little bit deeper into the muscle. Perhaps you're trying to add a little extra weight onto the bar, which the wide grip can assist you with. Typically when we go wide grip though, the speed of the bar slows down, so we're not gonna be able to launch it up. But for that wide grip, all right, hands out, a little bit wider than our traditional, wrist straight, shoulders back, lower back connected, come up, bend those arms 90 degrees flexion, right back up. All right, so that we have our traditional and our wide grip. Next, I want to get into that close grip a little bit. The close grip has the most application to real life, meaning we do a lot of things from here in tight. Whether we're a football player pushing someone off the line or anything related to that, this is a little more applicable to our life scenarios. opposed to doing something out here. But that close grip, typically used to target those triceps a little bit better. Great exercise if you're trying to obtain that horseshoe on the tricep. And let's get into it a little bit. So the wide grip, we were out here, the traditional little bit closer to the groove. For that close grip, I like to come in more or less right on the inner smooth groove of the bar, nice and tight. The closer I can keep my hands in, the better. All right, from here, shoulders down and back. Get that lower back contact. Push up. Now when we drop down, we're not coming elbows out, we're coming elbows straight down to our side, right up. Nice and easy, we bend those arms. So we have our close grip, which is going to be a little bit better if you're trying to target those triceps. You'll get that great squeeze. It's amazing. Another variation we have is the reverse grip. This variation isn't one of my favorites. Studies say it'll target the biceps a little bit better, but it seems to put our body at a little more risk than we're looking for. So I'll demonstrate that to you guys too. Now, setup for all these are the same. All right, we get good positioning, shoulders back, feet to our sides, good lower back contact. Now the reverse grip, instead of going normally like this, all right, we have a supination of the hands. We're gonna grab from here, come up, we drop those elbows right alongside us, right back up. Really interesting movement. Again, studies say it'll target the biceps a little bit more, along with the shoulders and the chest. It puts our shoulders in a weird position though, so I wouldn't advise it if you have shoulder pain or other things going on as far as that. The last grip I'm going to be getting to today is the suicide grip. So much like the close grip, the goal is to target our triceps. With the suicide grip, however, if we take our thumbs out of the equation, it is said that we get a little better tricep activation. But there is a problem with this grip. When we eliminate the thumb from the equation, it gives the bar a much easier path to fall out of our hands, and which could be somewhat dangerous. But the suicide grip, gonna get nice and close. All right, normally we do thumb under the bar, but from here, we're gonna come on top of it. Same idea, elbow down to our side, big push. As we can see, my thumb is freely flowing, all right? If something were to happen though, this could very easily come down on top of me. And I would not have my thumb there to, save myself. So, could be an interesting one for you. I don't advise it myself. It seems like the risk to reward is not there in our favor, but it's there. Another thing I want to talk to you guys about is the range of motion and the red zone. So, when we're doing bench press, typically the range of motion is about 90 degrees flexion of the elbow. What that means is, when we're bringing this bar down, we're looking for about 90 degrees bend in that elbow, a nice right angle. So what that looks like, we come down, beautiful, and we can come back up. We get 90 degrees, we breathe, and we come back up. This is where we get into that red zone a little bit. We see guys in the gym all the time. They're touching the bar to their chest. They're bouncing that bar off their chest. Why do they do that? Well, you get a little bit deeper in the muscle, to say the least. But the red zone states that going below 90 degrees elbow flexion, it puts those shoulders in an increased chance of, harming themselves. So, if you're someone who doesn't have the healthiest shoulders, you want to make sure you keep them safe, for the longevity. You're in this fitness journey for the long haul. You might not bounce that bar off your chest or even touch it to your chest. You might come down to about 90 degrees of the elbow and go back up. We're getting deep enough in that tissue that we're doing the movement, we're getting it done, everything that we need is happening, but we're not putting ourselves at that extra risk. If your shoulders are okay and you're someone that wants to utilize touching your chest, by all means you can. Just be aware that you might be putting yourself at further risk of hurting those shoulders one day. And it might not happen right away, but it might be a month, a year, 5 years down the line. And again, longevity is the name of the game. there's one last thing I want to talk to you guys about, and it's arching your back. Coach Gaines, I see all the time, big, strong, burly guys in the gym throwing up tons of weight and they're arching their back. Should I be doing that when I'm bench pressing? Well, I believe when we're bench pressing that we need to have that natural arc in our back. The one that occurs when we drive our shoulder blades down and get our feet secured alongside us. What I don't believe in is getting all set up properly and extra emphasizing that arc, okay? Look at the space between my lower back and the bench. Now, there is a time and place for something like that. If you're a power lifter or somebody whose event calls for the movement of a strenuous load once, that might be something you do. When we arch our back like that, not only do we get a little bit more of the latissimus dorsi muscles involved and some of the other back muscles, but we're also decreasing the distance that bar has to travel. So, if our task is to move a heavy weight one time, down and up, reducing that distance from our chest to the bar would make that a little bit easier for us. However, if you're in the gym and this is how you were training, you are not doing the best you can for yourself to develop your chest, to grow it. If you want to specifically grow your chest and develop it, you're gonna wanna keep that lower back cemented to the bench. That way there's no pressure coming off the chest. We're not favoring the back or anything like that. So we're gonna always wanna make sure we keep that lower back pretty firmly secured and/or that natural arc. We don't wanna emphasize that arc and overextend our back. Again, this is a chest movement. We wanna make sure the chest gets everything it needs, and that's how we're gonna do it properly. So thank you guys. I hope you tuned in and you enjoyed what I had for you. Again, this is Jimmy Gaines coming to you live from Blink Fitness Onondaga. Happy holidays.